Welcome to the Benz Nightshow. Okay, welcome to the Benz Nightshow. Today is the 19th of January 2021, and this is now episode number 65 of the Benz Nightshow. Walang ibaw no? Abot na rin episode number 65. Ang ubang kang programa na to, pila na kasi episodes, mas daghan po absent, so daghan na good sila. Episode 70 na siguro sila, or episode 75. Kita na pata sa episode number 65. Okay. That's it. Hello. Control. And wait. Okay. So welcome again. Like, share, comment. If you don't write a comment, I cannot see whether you are online or not with me in our chat, in our streaming. No? So you must please share, like, and comment. All right, our weather for tonight. It's now 26 degrees Celsius. That's cold enough. And full screen, 15% chance of rain until 10 p.m. 15% chance of rain, 26 degrees Celsius. Yeah, kung makita mo sa radar, mag-extra ng bagwag cloud sa Cebu City. Hourly forecast, window, full screen. 36 degrees Celsius karon, and it feels like 29. Northwest wind of 7 kilometers per hour, humidity at 87%, and by midnight, by midnight, yes, 25 degrees Celsius. So actually starting 11 p.m. we'll have a temperature of 25 degrees Celsius all the way up to 5 a.m. 6 a.m. tomorrow. Maybe pagkakaroon 26 degrees Celsius, it feels like 29 with a 15% chance of rain. That's it. World time. It is now 8:47 a.m. in New York. It is now 5:47 a.m. in Los Angeles. In London is now 1:47 p.m. in London. Tokyo, it's 10:47 p.m. Okay. O ganita sa chatroom na nabay naka-join na to karon. Si Francisco Pilago Jr. naminaw na nato karon. Si Felipe Miñoza watching from Talamban. Okay. Dow Jones may close kagahapon at 30,814.26 points. Very high. Ang gold sa pagkakaroon, it's trading at 1,837.30. Most of them around 0.30, 0.30, 0.30, 0.30, 0.30, 0.30, 0.30. Just a matter of, updates every 10 seconds. Let's see. 187.30 US dollars per ounce. We're trading now. 187.50. So lukso siya by 20 cents. See? You can see the number. 187 kanina 0.30, karon 0.50. It's live. Ang gold, ang Brent crude oil is 55.4. $55 on 41 siya. 55.4 kanong 55.1. Magpakita na nga live ni atong streaming sa data. 55.41 US dollars per barrel. Nagsakaman ang petroleum. That's crude oil. Brent crude oil price. Ang foreign exchange mo kaigsunan sa central bank, US dollar 48.06, Japan yen 0.46, the British pound 65.3, Hong Kong dollar 6.19, Singapore dollar 36.1, Bahrain 127.49, the dinar, Saudi Arabian rial 12.81, and the euro, European Monetary Union 58.063. Karong adlaw kay isa ng reference rate sa BSP. Og sa headlines ato magkaigsunan, it's changing. Now this changes every time there is changing every time there is new stream coming in. Ang Netflix ko no mo report sa lang earnings today, can it restart the tech rally? Ang Netflix. N10 shares nosedive as MGM says it won't go forward with an offer for N10. Sa laing bahin, ang oil prices edge higher, buoyed by stimulus hopes and a weaker dollar. And is there a Bitcoin ETF or exchange trade funds? A crypto holy grail, but don't expect to see one soon. Mato pa sa mga experts. O sa laing bahin, the US government's bond yields rise as investors eye Yellen's confirmation hearing as Treasury Secretary. And you can also read our rolling headlines below. Join na natin si Kani Flores. Yan, Kani Flores ay. Francisco Piliago, si Felipe Mendoza, Kani Flores. Hindi na ito ron. Alright, nga rin na kita sa itong COVID updates. Ready na ba mo sa itong COVID updates? Alright, there. Klaro na ba? Ang atong screen niya. Drawing-drawingan. And oops. Activate pen here and there. right. All right. Yay. Okay, so ana kita sa Johns Hopkins University COVID tracking map. So, tanawa sa yung data makaigso na, I'll be back. All right, back. Total world cases 95. Hapit naman 100 million eh. Pero 95 million, hapit naman 96 million. That's 95,668,817. Mas mura pa. 95,668,817 and cases. Deaths, global deaths, 2 million. Grabe yun eh. 2,043,717. So, run off in your mind, 96 million cases, 2 million deaths. United States, 24 million. Grabe sa United States eh. 1/4 naman siya sa cases. 24,079,744. And the deaths in the US, 399,008. So it's going to be 400,000 a few minutes from now. So 399,008 cases. But remember, namatay is like 3,000 to 4,000 per day in the entire United States. So 24 million and 400,000. That's just the run off there. The Philippines. So it's gonna be 500,000 in Philippines, eh? 504,084 cases, and the deaths in the Philippines, 9,978 deaths. 9,978 deaths in the Philippines. Now let's move to Japan. So Japan, there are now 396,435 cases. 396,485 cases, with deaths in Japan 7,000. South Korea, South Korea 73,115 cases, 73,115 cases, and deaths in Korea 1,280 cases. Singapore cases 59,157 cases, 59,157 cases, and deaths in Singapore only until now, 1 year into the pandemic, only 29 deaths. Taiwan. So Taiwan, there are 868 cases. For Taiwan, there are 868 cases for Taiwan. Nag-update ni sila. Hello. Taiwan, 868 cases with only 7 deaths so far. Only 7 deaths so far. Saan China? Next, we go to Hong Kong. Hey. Okay, here. Hong Kong, the cases are here. The cases in Hong Kong, 9,720 cases only. 9,720 cases only. That's only 164. Ang Singapore, 58,000 cases. Hong Kong, 9,720 cases only. That's in Singapore. In Hong Kong, 164. That's why I can say Hong Kong is the best pandemic market. Ito naman nag-discuss over since the beginning, di ba? Okay, if you have no questions there, sorry. Right. Kauban na po natin karon si Bex Tagalog sa YouTube. Grabe yan, Bex ay Tagalog. Again, let's look at it this way. Kung ano siya, you like, you share, post your comments. Facebook or YouTube. Nasa mas YouTube. Ay, parang po tayo listener sa YouTube. Rebecca Gumunaris, na Minatoron, Susan Linsonorin, Sana Molina, Lita Amatong, and Jumidis Go Matsura. Okay. balik ta sa Dow Jones. Nag-open na ba? Close pa. Karon pa man 10 o'clock, mabay pa po 9 a.m. nila, mabay pag-open karon. And hello, nga itong screen nga daghan man. Right, so wala. Okay. Ang ito sa kuwan ha. Dow. Yes, asan mo ka? There. Okay, still fresh. This gold 1,830 and 10. Narita sa Brent crude oil now at $55.34 per barrel. Headlines, now additional headlines today. Okay. Goldman stock jumps, Facebook climbs, and the market likes when what Janet Yellen is saying. And global markets push higher ahead of Yellen's Senate testimony. Okay. Yan na, adjust na ito mga okay, nga kita sa latest na coronavirus pandemic and vaccines. Restrictions could be gradually eased beginning in March in the UK, matod pa sa Osaka minister, and the world is on the brink of a catastrophic moral failure with vaccines, matod pa sa WHO. Ngano say pasabutan the world is on the brink of a catastrophic moral failure, matod pa sa in the distribution of COVID-19 vaccines, matod pa sa WHO Director General Tedros, adding that the promise of equitable access is at serious risk. More than 39 million doses of vaccine have now been administered in at least 49 higher income countries. Just 25 doses have been given to the given in one lowest income country. Not 25 million, not 25,000, but just 25 doses. Matod pa ni Tedros. I need to be blunt. The price of this failure will be paid with lives and livelihoods in the world's poorest countries. Manay, kuan na ron. Mga apocalypse bitaw nga mga kuan. California becomes the first U.S. state to surpass 3 million COVID-19 cases. The number of cases in the nation's most populated state has tripled in just the past 2 months. Grabe, 30% in just 2 months. Sa laing bahin, Trump moves to lift some COVID-19 related travel restrictions, but Biden plans to block the order. Away pa siya. 48 hours ang maluwi si Trump. Less than 48 hours na. Nalang. China and the World Health Organization acted too slowly on COVID-19 matod pa sa Pandemic Response Panel. China World Health Organization would have acted quicker and more forcefully to contain the start of the COVID-19 outbreak. Iba bitatang Trump nga iya itong gi-ignore. It will just go away. Ito pa rin Trump. In its second interim report, the Switzerland-based Independent Panel for Pandemic Preparedness and Response determined that Beijing could have been more vigorous in applying public health measures when the cases were first detected in the city of Wuhan in Hubei province. The independent panel, co-chaired by former New Zealand Prime Minister Helen Clark and former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who also criticized WHO for its delays in sounding the alarm and called for reforms to the UN agency. Meanwhile, sa Los Angeles, the LA County residents in California, over 65 can receive the COVID-19 vaccine starting Thursday. Ang Singapore Airlines hopes to be the world's first fully vaccinated airline. Singapore's national carrier, is hoping to become the world's first airline to get all of its crew members vaccinated against COVID-19, including pilots, gate agents, flight attendants, and anyone whose job requires contact with the public, have been offered free coronavirus vaccines by the Singaporean government. The country has purchased the Pfizer vaccine, which requires 2 shots. Sa laing bahin, China is hitting back at criticism of its vaccines with a dangerous disinformation campaign. The Chinese medical company Sinovac facing questions over the efficacy of its coronavirus shot. The country's propaganda, China's propaganda apparatus has apparently forgotten these comments. Instead, it is choosing to attack other vaccines. A dangerous gambit that could risk undermining overall confidence in mass vaccinations. Ang United States nag-report of more than 137,000 new cases in a single day today. 2 more tennis players test positive ahead of the Australian Open. Kadaghan ba ni? A third non-playing person associated with the Australian Open tennis tournament also tested positive. A total of 7 COVID-19 cases have been detected among the over 1,000 strong Australian Open cohort, including 3 takers. Sa laing bahin, a nurse for 50 years refused to retire when the pandemic began. She later died from COVID-19. Grabe yan, no? 50 years na siya ng ER nurse. So, kung nagsugod siya 20, 70 na siya. Kung nagsugod siya 25, 75 na siya. So, highly at risk. Betty Gray Gallagher has more than earned the right to retire. But according to those who knew and loved her, She just couldn't. She cared that much. Gallagher worked the night shift at Alabama's Cosa Valley Medical Center. Her preference, her son said, so she could mentor the younger nurses. Known around the hospital as Miss Betty, she loved to be their sounding board, personal therapist, and work mom. So that when the COVID-19 pandemic began in March, Gallagher's concerned co-workers asked her for his sister to stay at home. But sitting back wasn't like her. Gallagher died from COVID on January 10, which is a few days ago, one day before her 79th birthday in the same hospital where she worked for much of her career. Ay, pangano ka badlong sad mo eh. At least maya na lang mo pakahiro. Germany's Angela Merkel will meet state leaders today to discuss further pandemic restrictions in Germany. Now, ang problema karon sa Australian Open raises questions for the Tokyo Olympic Games. The quarantine controversy over tennis Australian Open has raised questions about whether large-scale international sporting events can take place in the middle of a pandemic and could offer a preview of the difficulties facing this summer's Tokyo Olympics. So 2020 na. Players arriving in the Australian state of Victoria have been placed into a 14-day quarantine ahead of their Grand Slam matches. Most have been allotted 5 hours each day to go out and train in a strict biosecure bubbles. But 72 players, 72 have been unable to leave their hotel rooms and cannot practice under strict quarantine rules after passengers on their flights tested positive for COVID-19. So, bahala po sila mag-COVID. Kung ano sila, i-isolate. UK minister self-isolating after coming into close contact with a COVID-19 case. So, PUM siya. UK Health Secretary Matt Hancock is self-isolating after coming into close contact with someone who tested positive for COVID-19. Last night, I was pinged by the NHS coronavirus app, so that it means I'll be self-isolating at home, not leaving the house all until Sunday. Sa langbahin, Israel hits new record in the virus cases as the government malls closure extension. Israel has recorded its highest figure of new coronavirus cases since the pandemic began, with 10,021 people added to the list of COVID-19 sufferers on Monday. Portuguese soccer giant Benfica confirmed mass outbreak. Portugal's most decorated soccer club, the Benfica, announced 17 new positive COVID-19 cases among their playing squad, coaching staff, and general staff. On Tuesday, the Lisbon-based club said it had asked the country's Department of Health to recommend whether or not it should fulfill its fixtures within the next 14 days, given both public safety and health of its players. COVID-19 vaccines might not be as effective against variant first identified in South Korea. Patay. Researchers say a coronavirus variant that first appeared in South Africa and has now been spotted in more than a dozen other countries might partially evade the vaccines, researchers said during a presentation. So partially. Widespread mask use can help stop virus outbreaks. Matod pa sa study. Sus, kinapa ni studyhan na automatic mo magnagot. Hindi ang gitakod kung nagkuhan ka. Mask. Don't expect travel restrictions to be lifted. Expect them to be tightened. Matod pa sa incoming head sa CDC sa United States. New virus variant may have been circulating in the United States before it was identified in the UK. A new variant of coronavirus first spotted in Britain with our B117 has been imported to the US multiple times and was apparently already circulating before it was identified in the UK. Biologist Michael Worsby of the University of Arizona said is found evidence that the variant known as B117 was imported at least 5 separate times to the US, likely many more. Okay. Storm grows around Australian Open as tennis authority refutes claims players are infected with COVID-19. The controversy surrounding the upcoming Australian Open continues to grow as Tennis Australia's chief executive, Craig Tiley, denied that any players from the tournament have tested positive for COVID-19 hours after the Victorian government said 2 players had confirmed cases earlier in the day. By the way, magkaigsunan na is open nga na sa Melbourne, which is in the state of Victoria. So, matod lagi sa Tennis Australia, man, di man tinuod nga na positive ang mga players. Kailangan sa tinuod. Okay. Okay, now, ngarita magkaigsunan ang Trump, ilan lang kadlaw? 19. Okay, 20 man inauguration. So, ugma na. Ilan lang ka oras siya? Ahead man tag 12 hours. So, inauguration nila is 9 a.m. on January 20. So, that's 9 p.m. Philippine time or 10 p.m. Philippine time. Sa atong programa na, during our program. Ang fired data scientist who accused Florida officials of cover-up turns herself in and tests positive. Siya po mismo positive. Siya may whistleblower. London's ICU nurses detail diluted care, depression, and disaster during the UK's deadly second wave. Doon isa ng mga nurse, kapa na siya. Biden prepares for inauguration on Trump's last full day. Sa si Trump, di man ma-attend siya. Naghakot na sila. Police recovered the 500-year-old stolen copy of Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Morley. Copy, ha? Stolen copy, hindi original. A 16th century copy of Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi, the world's most expensive painting, has been recovered by Italian police after it was stolen from a museum in Naples. The artwork, which was likely painted by one of the Renaissance master's students, was discovered at an apartment during a search in the Italian city. The property's 36-year-old owner was found nearby and taken into custody on suspicion of receiving stolen goods at anti-fencing. The portrait was modeled on Leonardo's famed depiction of Christ with one hand raised in blessing and the other holding a crystal herb. Numerous copies of the work were made during the artist's lifetime by his students and his assistants. Okay. Wow, police did not specify when the painting had been stolen, though the Naples Museum reported being in possession of the work as recently as January 2020, when it was returned from Rome. The original, Leonardo's original Salvator Mundi, made history in 2017 when it sold for $450.3 million at Christie's in New York. Once dismissed as a copy, it sold in the UK for just $61 in the 1950s. Ito sila kopya. Salvator Mundi, however, has not been seen in public since November 17 sale, after the Louvre Abu Dhabi announced that it would show the painting. It postponed the grand unveiling in 2018 without explanation. Pero kay Babo na ako na sa personal nga yate sa Crown Prince sa Saudi. Ako nila ko. Nasa yung yacht. Hindi na yacht. Bitter. Trump skips chance to say splashy, high-profile farewell. Biden prepares for inauguration on Trump's last full day in office. How Trump will hand off the nuclear football. Agatong portfolio case na contains sa nuclear codes. So, nuclear football. So, pagkatod. Trump's legacy will take years to purge from the American psyche, and Biden's COVID team is nervous about what the Trump team hasn't told them. Matod pa nila, ang Biden's administration mo prioritize sa domestic terrorism and early security focus. National Guard Chief sa United States na gingon is not concerned about insider threat to inauguration. O ang DHS pick ni Biden says if confirmed, he will ensure attack like the one on the Capitol will not happen. Domestic Homeland Security. Janet Yellen wins endorsement from all living former Treasury Secretaries. Kuyawan. Pangutana, James Baker, George Schultz, Steve Geithner, and Jacob Lowe. Wala sa silaguan. Unya, Hank Paulson, Jon Snow, Robert Rubin, and Larry Summers, as well as Jalen's confirmation hearing, and soon it begins. So, gikuan sila. They are endorsing Janet Yellen. Today is Trump's last full day in office. So, morning pa Manila. So it's still 9:29 a.m. in New York. Oh, sorry, yeah. Now that we know what we know so far about Trump's departure, it will be an early morning departure, so karon na siya. Early for a final, eager for a final taste of the pomp of being president, Trump has asked for a major send-off on Inauguration Day before one last presidential flight to the Palm Beach. President Trump is expected to leave from the joint base Andrews early Wednesday. Ugma nila. And arrive at his Palm Beach resort by the time Biden is being sworn in. Trump has told people that he dislikes the idea of leaving Washington as an ex-president, and it's a thought of having to ask Biden to use the plane. Trump's departure aboard Marine One from the White House South Lawn will likely to be visible and audible to the Bidens. Will spend the night before the inauguration at the Blair House across Pennsylvania Avenue from the executive mansion. Its use was offered to them by the State Department rather than the Trumps, who refused to make contact with the incoming president and the First Lady. Trump and the First Lady's departure from the White House South Lawn is expected to look relatively normal. Mastering a large crowd at the White House could be difficult given the intense security in Washington, D.C. Trump's send-off ceremony. Once Trump arrives at the joint base Andrews, we expect a military-style send-off and a crowd of supporters. This event is expected to be like a state visit departure event. Some of the pomp and circumstance under consideration for the ceremony includes a color guard, military band, 21-gun salutes, and a red carpet. Some of President Trump's allies and former administration officials have started receiving invitations to his send-off ceremony at the joint base Andrews, according to a person familiar with the invite. Presidents typically hold some type event at Andrews before leaving Washington. Ex-President Obama spoke to a crowd of former staffers in a hangar in 2017. Pero si Trump, military 21-gun salute. Will there be any sort of a handoff between the two men, between Biden and Trump? Trump remains undecided as to whether he will pen a letter to Biden to leave in the resolute desk in the Oval Office. Marpag ang desk sa Oval Office na ang previous occupant mo hatag og letter to the incoming president. It's just tradition. Although it appears increasingly unlikely, some of his advisors have encouraged him to think about continuing the tradition. Worth noting that early in his presidency, Trump enjoyed showing off the letter he received from Obama to visitors. The letter included what has become a prescient line: regardless of the push and full of daily politics. It's up to us to leave those instruments of our democracy at least as strong as we found them. Dili mo weekend, at least parihan niya. The two men are not expected to meet in person for the traditional meeting at the White House before a shared limo ride to the Capitol. What about a farewell address? Aides have pleaded with Trump to deliver some type of farewell address, either live or taped, that would take through his accomplishments in office. But yes, this appeared disinterested and non-committal. And Biden's inaugural committee will host a national memorial for the COVID-19 victims today, which is Tuesday. Church service before Biden's inauguration will be display of unity. Matuto sa Osaka Senator Democratic. Remember si Biden, Democrat siya. Five of Biden's cabinet nominees will have confirmation hearings today, 9 a.m. supposedly, at the Senate sa United States Capitol. At bang nasala sa doon sa White House. The day before President-elect takes office, his nominees of Secretary of State, Secretary of Treasury, Director of National Intelligence, Defense Secretary, and Secretary of Homeland Security will appear before Senate committees, not Senate as a whole, committees pa, to be considered for the respective roles. Alright, so salamat mga kaigsunan sa inyong pagkikuban ka nako. Kani si J. The Benz. Ato ha. Si Junis Gumotura na mina po naturan. Okay, so salamat sa pag-uban ka na kung magkaigsunan. Today is the 19th of January 2021 and this is now episode number 65 of the Benz Nightshow. Thank you and good night.